From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, Tommy Castellanos, Heisman contender or NFL early round draft pick? Tony Elliott fearing the spear or playing head games, and we delve deep into the Virginia program with the folks from Cavs Corner, the UVA site on the On3 network. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. warchantbogo, your promo code. Take it with you to vitaminenergy.com. Buy one, get one free. Buy 5, get 5 free. Whatever number you want, it'll get matched because when you buy one, you get one free when you use the promo code warchantbogo. This stuff, clinically tested and then clinically proven to not only give you all that energy you need to get through your day via 260 milligrams of all natural caffeine, great absorption throughout the course of the day, but also the vitamins and the nutrients to improve your focus, improve your mood. It's all in one little shot. You can take it anywhere you got to go. Gym bag, desk drawer, center console. It'll be there for you. Who's got your back? Vitamin Energy does. warchantbogo, the promo code. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. We got your back. Real quick, Corey, we took a little friendly fire on the internet yesterday. Longtime friend of the program, Gator Kirk, left a comment that hurt my feelings a little bit. Corey, if you don't mind me talking about it for a sec.
Sure, Aslan. Let's hash it out.
He left a comment along the lines of, the so-called ultimate Seminole sports source, but only talking about football, no basketball or baseball interviews. SMH. We did all of it. It's all we have. We have the alternate channel on YouTube called Warchant Press Room, but everything was on the hoops board. Everything was on the baseball board. Full summary of Link Jarrett's comments, 4 player interviews. So everything. We are the ultimate Seminole sports source, but it's football season. Everybody, Noles they're 8th in the country. This is pretty cool, but we're still covering everything. So come on down to warchant.com. Sign up for only $1. Give it a try. I think you're going to like it, everybody. I think you're going to like it. Corey Clark, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I didn't get to go to either baseball or basketball because I was recording headlines. But, yeah, it's cool that basketball season officially started on, I guess, Tuesday, right? It was their first practice, and then and the baseball team's first practice was on Monday. So, yeah, there are other sports getting started, and yeah, it's all on warchant.com, Gator Kirk. It's there. Go find it. It's there.
Not to rain on your parade so early in the day, Corey, but we got a comment from one Andrew Epps.
No.
He comments, multiple Epps are longtime supporters of Warchant. Corey was one of my favorites. Guess Aslan gets that distinction now. Terrible take by Corey, LOL.
There you go, Aslan.
At Warchant. So,
that's funny. Apologies to the Epps family. A great family, a huge Tallahassee, a huge part of Tallahassee. I just, up against Jefferson, it's tough. And look, the Clark name isn't rolling either against Jefferson. People will be like, what in the world? So, yes, at least the Epps have accomplished a lot more. That lineage, that family has accomplished a lot more than the Clark family, for sure. Yeah. Just that Jefferson, that's a tough bar to clear, man. Yeah. That is a tough bar to clear. And more importantly, they have not played in 6 years. This is not an annual rivalry. Nobody cares. Florida State used to put the trophy in some closet. I literally don't know that if you handed it to Mike Norvell, if they win on Friday night, I don't think he would know what it was or what to do with it. Just throwing that out there. Hand him the Cavaliers' head. Hand him a bust of Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
Take that back to Tallahassee. That would mean something.
Also, when you're a subscriber to warchant.com, you can leave comments on the Tribal Council, and we'll respond to them. And a lot of times we'll take action. One of our subscribers tagged a couple of us in a thread and asked us, how come nobody's asked Mike Norvell whether or not Tommy Castellanos has any additional eligibility beyond the 2025 season? Corey, you answered the call. You asked Coach Norvell. His answer, though, didn't give us a lot of clarity.
No, it didn't. I don't think I asked it correctly, according to Ira, when we talked about it on headlines, because Norvell was talking about the 5-for-5 rule, which they have not passed yet. We have been led to believe that it's the bowl games don't count towards your eligibility rule, where he could appeal and get an extra year of eligibility. Again, Ira's point was there's no need to do it right now or worry about it right now because you don't even know if Tommy's going to even want to be here next year. If he's going to try to go to the NFL, you have no idea how this season would play out. My counter to that would be, well, what harm is there in go ahead and expedite the process, because there is a chance come middle of December you kind of need to know who your starting quarterback is going to be for the following year.
Absolutely.
Is Tommy coming back? Is Sperry the guy? Is there somebody in the portal you need to get? You clearly don't want to be figuring all this out around Christmas time. It would make sense to be figuring it out now, but for all we know, they are, and it just has not been released. I postulated, that's a word, right?
Yeah.
Theorized that maybe they don't want to change his classification just yet. What if Tommy ends up in New York? What if he continues this? Like right now, again, he's played one real game. He was great in that game, but he played one real game. What if he ends up in New York? Because right now he's like the number 2. Well, he was number 2 in the Heisman prediction poll to John Mateer from Oklahoma, and then that kid's out for who knows how long because he just had surgery on his hand. So I guess Tommy vaults to number 1 on the Heisman list. Granted, very small sample size. There's been a lot of quarterbacks that have won the Heisman in September and didn't end up doing great. So either way, maybe you want to keep it on the down low that he might have an extra year of eligibility in case he has an awesome year, and then Texas Tech wants to come over the top. Don't even let him know he's available. Pull the old rope-a-dope, the okey-doke. Act like he's a senior. Hey, what are you even looking at, Alabama? You don't need this guy. Georgia, what? No, you got Gunner Stockton. Tommy's gone. Tommy's done. Maybe keep that on the DL and don't announce it in October. Hey, by the way, you got an extra year of eligibility. I feel like they're not going to tell us until there's a reason to tell us. But that doesn't mean they're not working behind the scenes. But yes, there was no clarity from Norvell, at least in the way he thought I asked the question.
I think you probably would put the number higher than I would have if you would ask me this question a month ago. I think a lot of times you factor in these guys have been playing football for a long time and they're ready to get on with their careers and start making like the real money, quote unquote. But it's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess, now that I'm like talking out in my head before I deliver the question to you, Corey. But, if Tommy ends up having a fantastic season, I don't know if it would be enough to make NFL teams enticed to make him a first, second-round pick, but I'm sure it'd be enough to make a Texas Tech try to come over the top or make Florida State have to really up his salary, if you will. What kind of percentage or how surprised are you thinking about it if somebody were to ask you, like, what's the option, the chance that Tommy actually goes to the NFL, and not because he's in a rush to make it to the NFL, but teams kind of are clamoring and he's being mocked high?
You mean the NFL is clamoring for him?
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to him, I just don't see that as a fit. There aren't, and again, he's only 3 games in. Let's see what it looks like, the throwing ability, the throwing on time, the reading, all the stuff that we think he could be good at, but we haven't really seen a lot of proof of that. And I say that again, guys. He completed 9 passes against Alabama. He controlled the game with his legs as much as he did with his mind and his right arm. So I want to see how that looks 2 months from now before I'm willing to think that a team would take him. Like, I don't know, man. Jordan Travis was, what, a 5th-round pick?
Now, with
right?
one leg.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
at least a year.
but I'm saying,
yeah.
but like, I would have thought he would project better as an NFL quarterback than Tommy right now, just because Tommy doesn't have a lot of evidence that he can be a quote-unquote NFL-style quarterback. And, there is a chance that the flip side of that, man, is there is a chance he gets word that, man, you might be a 5th or a 6th-round pick. You're definitely not going to be a top 2-round pick because I don't know, what is he, 5'9"?
No, he's listed on ESPN.com at 5'11", 201. Kyler Murray listed at 5'10", 207. But
it's just
but
that
Kyler
Murray
Murray
was a thrower.
Kyler Murray had over 800 yards and almost 200 yards rushing after his first 3 games of that Heisman season. Tommy's just shy of 600 passing and 139 rushing. I think Kyler outrushed him in the first 3 games too.
Yeah, but it's not that. Like Tommy's a better runner than Kyler Murray, in my opinion. They're very similar. I just think Tommy's just a unicorn when it comes to his running ability. But Kyler Murray also beats you with his right arm a lot. They are similar sized. I do think they have a kind of a similar skill set. I think Kyler Murray had some gifts as a passer that I have not seen from Tommy yet. I don't think that. I know that. But again, he's 3 games in, really 1 real game into his Florida State career. By the end of this season, we might all be praising the growth of Tommy as a passer, and yeah, a team might want him. I would just think, and maybe I'm holding the Boston College years against him too much, but I was like, man, if let's say he leads Florida State to 10 or 11 wins, and let's say he is all ACC, and they do make a huge bowl, or they make the playoff. Let's go ahead and aim high. They make the playoff, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I don't know that vaults him to like a first or a second day NFL draft pick because of the projection. I just don't know that they project him or think of him like that. I could be wrong. But, heck, he throw the ball good ways. He's got a nice arm. He can really spin it, as Gus said. But if they don't project him as anything more than a 5th or a 6th-round pick, well, man, you come back to college for another year, make yourself another $1 million or $2 million, whatever the going rate is for somebody like him, and then you could still go be a 5th-round pick the following year. You know what I mean? Like I would think the short-term allure of getting a 7-figure deal, a deal with a couple of commas in it, guaranteed, like he would get if he could come back, if he wants to and does come back to play another year of college football, I think that would be very appealing for someone like him, and I absolutely think it would be appealing for Florida State to make that a go if this thing continues on this trajectory. Imagine him having him for the next 25 games? All of a sudden, you're feeling really good about the state of your program. You had Jordan Travis for that long. You went on a huge run. I don't know if Tommy's as good as Jordan Travis as a total quarterback, but he's a reasonable facsimile, and he's got a lot of weapons to throw to, and he's going to be paid handsomely, more handsomely than Jordan Travis was. So I just think the finance, just the financial side for Tommy, if he can do it, would probably be worth coming back for another year. The NFL will be there in a year, right? Yeah. I mean, I guess there's always the risk of injury, but, there's also the risk of injury right now. So you just got to live your life. Live your life, Tommy, but just stay in Tallahassee. The conversations we were having that are intellectually honest, like we're not being intellectually dishonest having these kind of conversations. It's I'm amazed more and more every day that we sit here and we have these conversations about things like this. It's incredible. How crazy is it, though, when you think about what a big it's enormous. It's the second biggest sport in the country, and what the value of a quarterback like that is. Like right. Just think about the value of Jordan Travis to Mike Norvell's career and to the Florida State brand, into that program, and to all the fans that bought those tickets, that became members of the Bowden Society and all of that stuff. A lot of that had to do with Jordan Travis. You almost can't put a price tag on a transcendent quarterback. I don't think you can in college football. You can in the NFL. It's like $60 million a year. In college football, it's not that, because you can't lock them up for 10 or 12 years like the Chiefs did with Mahomes or whatever. But if you could lock up somebody like Tommy Castellanos, if he's this guy, for 2 years, come on now, man. Like maybe Virginia, the same thing with the Morris kid. Like you get somebody like this that can be in your system for a couple years, and what that just means to the program and the excitement and the fan base and the wins, it's worth it. I don't know what it is, but yeah, he's going to be in high. He'll probably get a raise if he comes back, would be my guess. I just can't wait till the day when we have hard numbers on all this sort of stuff, so we know like who's getting what, to be like Tommy's the 18th highest paid quarterback in the country or something, and then see what happens from there. But got a couple more games before we want to mortgage everything on him. But so far, everything looking good. And I wonder if that day will ever come, or if it's just going to be, this was the money you spent on your football team, and we're going to keep the actual numbers a secret, but just know you spent $22 million or exactly $20 million on your football team.
Also looking good to not just us and all you folks listening to this. It's also looking really good to Tony Elliott, the head football coach at Virginia, longtime Clemson offensive coordinator during their heyday, saying during his press conference on Tuesday, Corey, this is as good a Florida State team as I've seen in a while.
Okay.
I've seen some really good ones. He talks about Tommy and Deuce being household names, Deuce being a household name from the West Coast. He compares Darrell Jackson to Dexter Lawrence, compares Earl Little, evoking memories of Derwin James-type players and LaMarcus Joyner. I think the new word on the streets isn't gassing up. It's the perfume. And Mekhi Danzy mentioned it the other day, and I think Bryant McFadden, Florida State great, has kind of coined this. I mean, I don't know who coined it before him.
Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
Or one of the, maybe Epps again.
One of the Epps probably. But,
about smelling the
smell
perfume
it, but don't
not
drinking
it.
Yeah. So
I don't like that one.
I like it a lot.
But who drinks perfume? I get that's the point of it. But I think it should be more relatable.
Okay.
Nobody drinks perfume. Like, smell the roses, don't eat the roses.
Have your cake, don't eat it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's the same thing as saying, I want to smell the rose, but I don't want to eat them. It's like, well, no, duh. You're a human being. You don't eat roses.
Don't eat the crumbs.
Eat flowers.
Don't eat the crumbs, right?
You don't drink perfume and you don't eat crumbs.
Yeah.
So I get it, though. You want to waft it in a little bit, but you don't want to taste it. Meanwhile, it's always fun, and it never bothers me much with women at all. In fact, it doesn't. But a dude with too much cologne, where you literally are tasting it, is disgusting. And I say that because my son used to have a really bad habit of drowning himself in it. And it's like, I can't be in the car with you. This is outrageous. So if you're one of those guys that doesn't just like do one squirt and walk through it, or one squirt and rub it on your wrist, I don't even know how people wear cologne. Calm it down a little. We don't need to smell you from 20 feet away. You might think it smells great. It's off-putting when you smell that much. Good or bad. When you smell that outrageous on either side of the spectrum, it's not a good thing. Smell okay. Smell good. Don't smell bad.
Find the happy medium.
Obviously, don't ever smell bad. But you don't want to smell like a cloud of cologne. Anyway.
I'll be an equal opportunity hater. Women do it too. I'll be at the gym and someone will walk by and it'll just linger for 10, 15 seconds. Just really strong, floral, aromatic perfume. And it's why? Why are we doing this? But I persevere.
You do.
That's what I do. That's what I do. Nonetheless, back to Tony Elliott. Do you think this is gamesmanship on his part, Corey, or do you think this is, let's maybe not go to 2013, but 2023, seemingly every coach that we heard from in the lead up to a game was talking about this team that they're looking at is incredible, and they're one of the better teams that they've seen in a long time. Do you think Tony Elliott has some real profound respect for what's rolling into Charlottesville on Friday, or do you think it's mostly gamesmanship to get his guys focused and amped up?
No, I think gamesmanship is, remember when Dabo was talking about Janarius Robinson? Like, hey, I can't remember his number,
11.
It's like, that number 0 is about as good a defensive end as we've seen. This is going to be a dogfight. And it's like, yeah, man, it was 35-0 in the third quarter. It was 2019. And Janarius Robinson was a fine player. But Dabo was trying to find things to praise about that 2018 or 19, I think it was 19, Florida State team that came in there and got waxed. No, I don't think that's this. I think he's legit. I mean, he's not lying. Tommy and Deuce are good players. Darrell, I don't know if he's Dexter Lawrence, but he is a very impressive defensive tackle that has played well. Like the last 8 or 9 games he's played in that uniform, he's been pretty darn good. So, no, I don't think so. You wonder if it's like I'm sure he's telling his players something else. Like, man, these guys are beatable. They're not that good. But you also got to warn your fans, like, guys, I know we're playing well, but this is a whole different animal that's coming in here. We have not seen anything like this. And that's true. Like, Florida State has seen, in Alabama. They've seen receivers better, at least as good, but probably better than what Virginia has. Virginia has not seen a Tommy Castellanos. They have not gone up against a Deuce Robinson or a defense like this. Is Earl Little Derwin James? No. But Earl Little's good. And I don't know if they played a better. I'm going to assume Stanford doesn't have a lot of Earl Littles running around. So no, I don't think it's gamesmanship, because that, to me, that kind of implies that he doesn't think this Florida State team is good. And I think that would be false. I think this Florida State team is good. They're not unbeatable, though. And I assume that's the message he tries to tell his team.
Yeah, I don't know, it was maybe like rat poison or something, but I think you're right. Corey's always right, too, about hanging out at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill being the place to be. Somebody on the beat told me they hung out at the Corner Pocket on Sunday, and they were flabbergasted. I'm like, whoa, I mean, was it crowded? Like, yeah, like it was slammed. It was busy. I'm like, yeah, man, it's the Corner Pocket, man. All day happy hour. They said they saw you, but they didn't want to bother you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so you folks, though, feel free to bother Corey whenever you go
it's
to
not a
Corner
bother.
Pocket.
Well, if you're on the beat, you see me all the time. Yeah, leave me alone. But if you're a regular citizen of the great city of Tallahassee, and you see my bald head in Corner Pocket watching football, by all means, come up and say hello.
Delicious food, great social calendar that includes trivia every Tuesday, bingo on Thursdays, cash money up for grabs during the bingo. That weekday happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m., happy hours, all day on Sunday, ice cold drinks, delicious food. And then, yeah, if you're a Nole and you can't make it to Charlottesville like a whole lot of us, and you're in town, head to the Corner Pocket. Be surrounded by your brethren or sisterin. Which
it will be slammed. It will be like being at the game. There will be cheers. They let out Noles cheers. It is the place if you're not going to be watching it at home. You might be one of those nervous watchers that doesn't want to be around a bunch of people. But if you want to be communal and cheer when Florida State does something well and boo when they show a referee, whatever you want to do, that's the place to be, because they are definitely invested in the game. Every TV will be on the well, maybe there'll be one for like a Mets fan that'll be on a Mets baseball game. All the other ones will be on Florida State.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. We're going to talk about Virginia with one of their writers, Jackson Hepner, right after this. We now have a full month of data, everybody. We're primed to make the bold picks. So are you. Join Corey and myself over at Underdog Fantasy this season to win off the field and win big. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Just make sure you pick a player for both teams in a given game and let your imagination or ambition take over. Also, Underdog affords the option to play responsibly. It allows you to play with as little as $1. Maybe you love college football, but maybe you've got a better feel for other sports. Well, all sports are available over at Underdog. UFC, soccer, tennis, Major League Baseball, and more. Download the app. It's Underdog Fantasy, and sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play with your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Use that promo code WarchantBogo. Buy one, get one free. Let's turn our attention even closer now to the Virginia Cavaliers. Florida State's opponent on Friday night, Scott Stadium, 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. I should know that by now, Jackson. We got Jackson Hepner joining us from Cavs Corner. He's part of the Virginia site on the On3 network. Jackson, thanks for taking time out. How's life in Charlottesville?
Oh, it's great. I mean, so first off, 7 p.m. Just to just to clarify there. But yeah, life in Charlottesville's been good. Cavaliers are 3-1, not something we're super used to, and obviously big game this Friday. I've seen a lot of people, trying to generate buzz, generate hype, hoping for a big crowd. So hopefully that all comes to fruition.
Yeah, real quick on that. Do you expect, that to be a pretty juiced up crowd on Friday night?
I think it's tough to say. I'll say this: last week we had a night game against Stanford, started at 7:30. The students were great; they were awesome. I'm subscribed to like the game updates on my phone, and I got a text that actually said like the hill. I think it was like midway through the second quarter, that hill was full. And like that's the student section. So like students showed up great. The rest of the community not so much. So I think the students are guaranteed to kind of be juiced up for this. It's just kind of a question of, it's not quite a football town all the way just yet. So, hopefully we'll get some Charlottesville support there.
Yeah, I feel like number 8 Florida State will bring a couple more people to the gate than Stanford, but we'll see. 7 p.m. Scott Stadium on Friday night. Jackson, let's go ahead and talk about this Cavaliers team that started off 3-1. Corey Clark and myself on this podcast were, showing some respect to Virginia in the preseason just because the fact they went and got a guy like Chandler Morris, it just felt like they have a competent quarterback. He's a guy that can, kind of change a program for you. How much of the success passing wise has it been Chandler making like really phenomenal, rare throws? How much of it has just been having a good offensive line and just kind of staying within the system?
I think it's a combination of both. So, first off, that offensive line, they've only given up like 1 sack all year. And Elliott said in the post game for Stanford, he was like, I blame Chandler for that sack because it was kind of he ran out of bounds instead of throwing it away situation. So, obviously he was kind of joking there, but the offensive line is great. They got a lot of depth there, a lot of key pieces. There are guys on that line who are sitting on the bench who could be starting anywhere else. So, that's obviously been a big factor. But I think the other big thing is like you said, Chandler has just kind of proven himself to be the guy in Charlottesville. He's a great quarterback. I think one of the most underrated parts about his game is just his pocket presence and sort of his awareness on the field. I've seen so many plays where the pocket blows up, he's getting chased by multiple defenders, he's going the wrong direction, and somehow he gets enough separation, finds this guy downfield, and hits him for a first down and maybe even more. And that's just the type of stuff you just don't see that every day from a quarterback.
Has it been a big play kind of explosive offense? That, Florida State, for as many points they've been putting up on the board, it hasn't been like these long methodical drives. Every single drive has almost a signature play of 20, 30, 40 plus yards. Has Virginia's offense been living by the big play, or has there been some more of that methodical 6-7 play drive stuff?
Yeah, it's been interesting, because they'll have a couple big plays every game, but I think mostly it's been they found a lot of a lot of really quality plays that are a little bit more in the realm of 8, 9, 10 yards. These not necessarily big plays, but the ones that are kind of just moving the chains down the field. Especially in the NC State game, you saw a lot of methodical, lurching drives. It was kind of bizarre because it was a shootout, of course. But it was NC State would come out and they'd have, big play after big play. And then UVA would come out and it'd be couple yards on first down, couple yards on second down. All of a sudden it's third down. Then they make a great play on third down, and they just kept doing that. So it's this methodical lurching. But especially against Stanford, you saw a little bit more of 15-yard reception, 20-yard reception, couple big plays. So, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the slowest thing in the world, but big plays isn't exactly their specialty at the current moment.
Gotcha. How have Trell Harris, Cam Ross, how these guys integrated themselves into the pass game? And then obviously Jamari Taylor proven to be maybe one of the better running backs in this conference. How much of their emergence has caught you guys by surprise in Charlottesville so far?
Yeah. I think I'll start with Cam Ross because I have a little bit of a personal connection with him. So I actually covered him. I just graduated from James Madison in May, and that's where he transferred from. Yeah, go Dukes. So yeah, it was very interesting kind of following him because, when he was at JMU, he was a great kick returner. We knew that, but he had a lot of issues with drops, and I don't know what in the offseason, he was talking about he was catching hundreds of balls a day, and you can tell he's a much better receiver with the Cavaliers. He's just this all around explosive weapon for them, whether it's kick returns, whether he's in the offense at receiver. He's just been making big play after big play. Trell Harris, obviously the Stanford game was huge for him, 3 touchdowns. And, I think it's kind of a testament, that whole receiver room, you never quite know who's going to go off, every game. And that's true of the running back room too. Jamari Taylor going off against NC State, he's from North Carolina. That was a great story for him to have such a game against them. So I think really the story of the offense as a whole is there's just so many weapons on this team, and we never really quite know. Who knows who's going to go off against Florida State on Friday, right? I couldn't tell you. There's too many guys to pick from.
Maybe nobody,
Yeah.
Jackson.
Maybe or maybe nobody. it's the number 18 in the country, so we're not getting too cocky here. But yeah, I mean, you never know with this team.
Yeah. Back to Chandler real quick, Jackson. Just what has he meant to the whole program? You know, I mean, Florida State brought in so many new pieces, and so did UVA. And Tommy Castellanos is obviously a big part of the turnaround. But for me, looking at the preseason, you're like, all right, Mel, if they've got a functional quarterback that can run this offense that Tony Elliott wants to run, like they're going to be probably a little bit of a problem for a lot of teams in the ACC. What has Chandler done? Maybe not only so much on the field, but in terms of like off the field confidence and just giving this team a veteran proven presence.
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely, and it was definitely a nice change of pace to kind of bring in a guy who had so much football experience. I think especially in this day and age in college football, when you bring in a graduate, graduate player who's played 5-6 seasons, that can bring a lot of value to the program. And you can tell with Chandler, I mean, he's poised, he's confident. Whenever we've talked to him as the media, he's always been, a very genuine, down to earth type of guy. Just a, kind of the classic football player kind of guy. And the other thing is that he's a gutsy player. I mean, first game against Coastal Carolina, he went out in the third quarter because, he was going for a rush, and instead of sliding, he just put his shoulder down. And, at the time we were all like, why'd you do that? Like, it looked like he might have been, he was out for the rest of the game. They were up big by that point, but like, we were all worried that he was injured. And then afterwards, Elliott was like, don't worry, like he's fine. He was good. Gave him a little slack for not sliding there, but that just shows you how much of a competitor he is. And I think that's true. I mean, I've seen him make a lot of plays, just gutsy plays, just putting his heart out there. And, that's the type of thing that I feel like can really empower the rest of the team.
Let's go over to the defensive side of the ball. I'm kind of asking the same question that I asked you about the offense. Has the UVA defense made opponents earn their yards and earn their points? Or have there been, some busted coverages and big plays that have allowed teams like NC State and others to bring up some points on the scoreboard?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for the defense right now has just been allowing those big plays. I think NC State was that was one of the games where I think it was a wake-up call in a lot of ways. The offense played so well. I mean, pretty much Chandler was perfect up until that last interception. But the real story for me was the fact that, the defense just kind of looked flat. They were allowing a lot of big plays. Felt like CJ Bailey could just kind of do whatever he wanted out there. And they've shown a lot of improvement. I think the Stanford game was a step in the right direction. Before the Stanford game, they had only gotten 4 sacks all year. They got 5 against the Cardinal. And so, obviously big improvement. They had a fumble recovery as well from a returning Cam Robinson, who is in his, that was his season debut. Him coming back has been really big for them. But yeah, like there were still like a couple of really suspect big plays that they gave up to Stanford. The two that kind of stick out in my mind is there was a completion. It was a 60-yard completion in the first quarter. I think, yeah, it was like a 60-yard completion in the first quarter, right down the middle. And then the exact same thing happened in the third quarter for a touchdown. It's like, you're giving up the same big play at 2 different points in the game. That was kind of something that raised my eyebrows a little bit. And especially against, tough Seminole offense. I think that's probably going to be the make or break for that team.
We spoke to Jameer Carter at ACC kickoff. How has the run defense been? It feels like Florida State is not unlike most high functioning offenses right now. You got to take something away from them. And I would think most teams want to start by taking away the run. Has Carter and the front been able to limit opponents rushing so far this year?
Yeah, I think that's another thing. I think they haven't done it's not been like an exceptional job. It hasn't been a terrible job. I think, again, the NC State game, I think, Hollywood Smothers, him going off was kind of a little bit of so yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like, I think, again, Florida State's going to be a big indicator. There's not besides the NC State game, between Stanford, William & Mary and like Coastal Carolina, there hasn't really been, that many opportunities to kind of prove that they can go toe to toe with some of the high level, ACC offenses, both rushing and passing. So I think it's definitely going to be interesting. Like I said, haven't done a terrible job, but I would like to see them, kind of step it up a little bit against the Seminoles.
One of the bigger acquisitions for Virginia was on defense, I guess literally with Fisher K-Mac. He's just like 6'7", I think, defensive lineman. Has he met expectations, or is he still kind of working towards becoming the player that Tony Elliott and the Who's were hoping for?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of room for progress there. Right now on the stat sheet, he's got, he's got eight total tackles, 2 solo, 6 assisted, only 1 sack, and that was an assisted sack. So I think that, I think that he has a lot of potential, of course, and it's early in the season. Again, you don't know what happens, but I think there's a little bit more room for growth there. And I'd kind of, especially after what he did with UNLV, I'd like to see him maybe take a step up or two, as the season progresses.
And then looking at PFF, Daniel Rickett seemed to have been a terror for the Cardinal last weekend. Is he emerging? I mean, he's undersized guy that was at Tennessee Tech and did really well there. Is he becoming kind of like a reliable pass rush threat for the Virginia defense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's leading the team in sacks with 2.5. And like you said, I guess, Stanford was a big breakout game for him, really showed, what he could do. I mean, 2 of those 2.5 sacks came against the Cardinal. So, I definitely think he's one of those guys, as the defense has struggled, and as, Cam Robinson especially has been sitting out the first couple of games, we've kind of been looking to see like, okay, who are the guys on this defense? Who's going to step up? Who's going to make the big plays? And, I think Daniel proved last week that, he has that ability, and I'd love to see him, continue it moving forward.
On Tony Elliott, Jackson, when you talk to other guys on the beat, the guys with you over at Cavs Corner, have they noticed anything different out of Tony Elliott this year? Is there a different level of energy, different level of confidence, belief coming from the top of the program?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So, I'm in my first year covering the team, but I always kind of think back to in 2023, I had the opportunity to cover JMU's game against UVA. And, I think about that game a lot now that I'm on the UVA beat, because to me, like, that was kind of the low point for Tony Elliott, was losing that game. It was their first game since that tragic shooting that happened the year prior. They lost to JMU, an in-state group of 6 team. I remember kind of being on the field, walking to the away, press conference, and just looking and just seeing the team walk off, and they just looked so dejected, exhausted, physically exhausted, emotionally exhausted. So to compare that and to see where they are now, I mean, it's a night and day difference. And like I said, there hasn't really been a lot of winning football, in Charlottesville, unfortunately, especially, I grew up here. I remember when Bronco was here and he was the head coach, it seemed like they were going to turn it around a little bit, but then he left and you brought in Tony Elliott. And I think, Tony Elliott, he's the type of guy who he doesn't have the results quite yet. This is kind of the season where it's like, he really, they got to make a bowl game. Like, we keep saying that they got to make a bowl game. They were 5-7 last year. That was improving. They got to make a bowl game this year. But in terms of culture, like, you can tell, like, he's built a really, really good culture. And I think that it's one of those situations where as long as he can just get the results this year, I would love to see him stay, for the long-term future and see if he can keep it going.
I know he had a press conference earlier in the week, and in full transparency, we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon. I don't know if you've been able to speak to the players, but just, last question for me, Jackson, on the way out, just kind of, is there a palpable sense? I don't know, maybe just talking to other people around the program, like, does Virginia feel confident, not overconfident, not cocky, but like, do they feel like they've got a real shot at pulling off one of the bigger upsets this season if they were able to pull it off Friday night against number 8 Florida State?
Yeah, I didn't have, unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to go to media today, but I was able to talk. I saw some clips that some of the other beat writers had posted, and I was able to talk to them a little bit about this matchup after that Stanford game. And, I think they're fired up. I mean, the players are fired up. I think they believe that they've been overlooked in the ACC. They believe that, this is their opportunity to kind of show the world what they're capable of. And, the program as a whole, they're kind of leaning into it a little bit. I'm sure you've kind of seen, they're bringing back the old throwback uniforms from 1995. the homage, kind of make an homage to that historic upset of the Seminoles. They're not being subtle about it. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if that would be my strategy personally if I was in charge of marketing. The uniforms look good. I'm not complaining about the uniforms. I'm just kind of like, man, if you're going to call your shot, to quote the great Byron Scott, it's not trash talk if you back it up. So my question is, we'll have to see if they can back it up.
All right. 7 p.m. Friday night, Scott Stadium, ESPN, Florida State, 8th ranked, taking on Virginia. Scott State, middle of a house of horrors. 2019, Florida State lost. 2005, they were riding high. I think they were ranked in the top 5 or so. They were 5-0, 6-0, lost to Virginia. Obviously, the 95 game that Jackson just talked about. So does any of that matter? We'll find out soon enough. Jackson Hepner from Cavs Corner joining us here on Wake Up Warchant. Jackson, thanks very much, and enjoy the game Friday night.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Whether you're headed outdoors or out on date night, put on your Poncho Outdoors performance shirt and enjoy the breathable fabrics, functional pockets, and things like a microfiber lens cloth sewn into the hem of your shirt so that you can quickly and easily keep your shades clean, or in my case, eyeglasses. I'm rocking the Ultralight that opts for a single breast pocket for a more crisp look, in my opinion. If you want a looser cut, they've got you covered with their regular fit, or try the Slim Fit for a more polished fit that works in all settings and still gives you that light, breezy feel. Compare this to a cotton polo, not even close. A golf polo, still not as light and comfortable as a shirt from Poncho Outdoors. Are you up north? Try the flannels and the soft, broken-in feel of their denim shirts. Poncho stands by every shirt, and they'll make it right if it's not your favorite. If you've been looking for the perfect shirt, something breathable that fits great, feels even better, and stands out in a good way, give Poncho a try. Go to ponchooutdoors.com/wakeup for $10 off your first order, and we'll give you free shipping and free returns, and you get that Poncho promise. It's PONCHO outdoors.com/wakeup to save $10 off your first order. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant. It's presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code WarchantBogo. Buy one, get one free. We need to start a new segment, Corey. Days old news. Not day old, but like days. Because if we missed it for the show to go out the next day, then by the time, it comes out, it'd be days old. Virginia going to bring back their 1995 unis. Going throwback.
Okay.
Corso confirmed going to be in Tallahassee for the Miami game.
Yep.
And the ACC going to a 9-game schedule. Rank those in terms of what you're most interested in talking about.
Well, number 3 is the Virginia uniforms. It's crazy. I guess are they gonna honor that team too?
I mean,
I guess I don't know.
It would be 30 years ago. My gosh.
Yep,
Yeah.
I know, buddy. Trust me, I know. The 9-game schedule, I guess. Although I don't know its importance really. It makes sense. I think it's an extra game. You don't have to pay like a Kent State to come take a whooping. I do wonder about. That means I would assume every other year you're going to be on the road 5 times in conference. That's not great. But as long as you're in the ACC, it's not going to be a murderer's row. If you're taking care of your own business, they all should be pretty winnable games. So, yeah, I don't know. The 9-game, 8-game, or 9-game, it doesn't – I guess – does it – do you think it matters, like, for the Georgia game? Let's say that Florida State remains in the ACC, and that Georgia game is on the books for 2 years from now. Are they still going to keep that Georgia game? And the Notre Dame, like, how does that work? I know they have to play 10 FBS games, but if you're having to play an extra conference games, does that lend itself to canceling the Georgia game? I don't know. I don't know how it would impact it at all. That's why I don't really have much of an opinion on it. So with that instead, I guess Lee Corso is number 1. Cool. I'm glad he's here. It's a reunion with the team he was on, right?
I didn't realize that. No, I didn't see the full reporting. I just saw the juicy bit, which was that he'd be in town.
I thought it had something to do with the Nugent boys, is what they called themselves. So, like maybe the 70-year reunion. So the guys that are, not trying to be flippant here, but the guys that are still alive that played on those mid-50s teams, maybe they're having a reunion. That's what I thought I read or saw. But yeah, any excuse to get him here for that game would lend itself to, it should coincide with his old show being back in town too.
By the way, the reporting on the 9-game schedule says most teams will begin playing 9 conference games plus 1 Power 4 game in 2026. I think I saw somebody say it might be starting in 2027, but might be right around the corner there. Yeah, that'd be interesting, right? More road games. I think that's the bigger kind of takeaway. I mean, not so much like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So are you gonna one of those, like, I guess you want the Georgia game when when you play them at home. That's when you have the extra road game, because you do not want to have a 6-6 where you're at home for 6 games and you're on the road for 6 games. And, if you've got to play 5 road conference games plus in Athens, well, yeah, man, that's not what football schools do. You want more home games than road games, so they'll have to figure that out. So I don't know how you're going to get a Power 4 team to do a non-home and home. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you want to schedule Wisconsin, you're probably going to have to go to Wisconsin for one of those games. So with that in mind, I guess you're always going to be on the road for 5 games. Sometimes there have been seasons where it feels like it's 8 and 4. Is this year? This year they have 5 road games, right? Virginia, Stanford, NC State, Clemson, and Florida. So, I would think most seasons will be like this one. But you never want to get in a situation where you have 6 home games and 6 road games. This ain't the NFL.
It's not. Who should Florida State fans be rooting for this weekend, Alabama or Georgia? Can Corey Clark root against his dogs?
Oh, I don't care about them. But it's really hard to root for Alabama because of, recent transgressions. I guess for Florida State's purposes, you want Alabama to be good. That's a really difficult win there for them this weekend. But I guess you want Alabama to be good, so in that case, you want Alabama to win. And also, who cares if they go 6-6? You know what I mean? Like, I think it'd be cool if Alabama sucked and got a taste of what life is like for everyone else.
All right. Mike Gundy. Good night, sweet prince. 21 seasons? I might have just totally made that number up.
I think you did. I think it's 23, though. You might have been right, though. It's definitely over 2 decades. I'm a Man, I'm 40 was like 18 years ago, almost to the day.
It was.
That he was fired. Look, and it obviously run its course. That was embarrassing what happened earlier this year, and then they come home after bye week and lose to Tulsa. But he had some really good teams there, and he did a really good job. Because Oklahoma State, as long as I've been alive, it was the year with Barry Sanders when Gundy was the quarterback, and then a whole lot of nothing. Essentially, I know Thurman Thomas was there. I know Florida State played him in a Gator Bowl one year, but Oklahoma State had been basically non-existent, irrelevant for the better part of my life. And that kind of includes the Gundy years too, but he did have some really good teams that were like 11-win teams, 12-win, almost playoff team kind of squads there. So he had some real good teams, and he was certainly a character in the post-game press conference. And the hair, I can't wait. I would love for when he finally does talk to the media again to just take off the wig and show that it's been a wig this whole time. I think that would be a great way for him to go out.
He was on a hot board for the Florida vacancy not long ago. I don't know if it's when they hired Mullen or when they ended up hiring Napier. But I remember Gundy was on their hot board, and there was a sizable contingent of fans online that were Gator fans that wanted Mike Gundy, and now he's out at Stillwater. Crazy.
What's crazy about that, though, and it's just a sign of the times that I think he was, I don't know if he was ever on a real hot board at Florida State, but his name is, it carried some weight. 2 years ago, they were in the Big 12 championship game, right? And then here he is getting fired. That shows you how quickly things change in this sport anymore. But so he gets fired, and then the AD comes out immediately, like later on Tuesday, and was like, we need every Oklahoma State supporter and booster to basically saying, you've got to invest in this program. You've got to give money to this program. You've got to get us right with the finances. In so many words, if you read between the lines, that's exactly what they're saying about the commitment. that they have to make financially to be good at football. And Virginia Tech did the same thing after they fired Brent Pry. And it's like, man, why don't y'all do that before you fire people? Like maybe Gundy, if you gave him the roster he needed, if you put a lot of money in then, he might have given you a good product. You can't fire a guy because his team's terrible, I don't think, and then say, now we need money to go be good. It's like, well, man, why didn't you try to get this guy to succeed and give him the money he needed? Because, certainly in Virginia Tech's case, they've got to make a serious investment because to me anyway, they've fallen woefully behind on what they need to be a competitive football program. And what happened to the T. Boone Pickens money, Aslan? Where did that go? Does his estate just take it all? Like, I thought he would have set up something in perpetuity so Oklahoma State was taken care of.
Yeah, man, look what the Dunlaps have done for Florida State.
Yeah.
Al's been...
And T. Boone had more money than them.
And he actually went to Oklahoma State, I think.
I would hope. He was too busy finding oil out in the desert.
Being a landman.
Look that up.
Being a landman.
Yeah, dang right.
Yep, he went to Oklahoma State and Texas A&M.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Made
you know which one he liked better, apparently.
Man, net worth $500 million after he had given away more than $1 billion to various philanthropic causes. Nice guy. Nice guy.
Yeah.
All right. We're done, Corey. We did it. A little bit of a shorter one.
What a way to go out.
Well, Mike Gundy, man, he just means a lot to a lot of us out there, you know?
Yeah. He'll coach again somewhere, I guess.
You think? You think? Who's that?
I think so. Who knows? He might do the Rich Rod route, go to some small school. I mean, yeah, I would think he'd get a shot again. He's not that. He's only 58, right? Because that was 18 years ago. He was screaming, "I'm a man. I'm 40."
Correct.
So yeah, we didn't even talk about who'd we get? Jabril Rawls and Daryl Jackson. Yeah, God love him. Daryl's a very nice kid when he talks to us. He's just, he's
doesn't have a lot of flourishes. He's just right to the point.
Yeah. He'll yes, he's got short answers, but good answers. And then we talked to Norvell. He said that Castellanos worked again, and then he made fun of the question, being like, "Well, there's going to be an injury report that's released."
Yeah, later today, everybody get excited.
We're living that life, folks. We got an injury report coming your way.
I'm going to say, do you think Tom will even be on it?
I think they would probably put him as probable. I would think, yeah.
Squirrel, probable.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I wonder how that even works.
Yeah, well, no, he said that it's probable, questionable, and out. So
but, what is probable? Has there ever been somebody that was probable that didn't play?
I'm sure. I'm sure somebody out there lost their fantasy football game one year because they put somebody in their lineup that was probable, and then he was.
But it's got to be like 1 to 3%.
Oh yeah,
of everybody that's on a list that's probable that actually doesn't play. Yeah. I would rather see improbable. But yeah,
instead of out or instead of question,
just improbable. Yes, it's just no what I think that. I wonder, like in Virginia's, like what are because Belichick didn't he always put everybody on him?
Yeah, I think Brady was like on it every single week almost
for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I wonder how many schools will do that, like probable for the whole roster, or nobody's on it at all, or the whole team is questionable. Like I don't know how they're gonna. It's gonna be interesting because the NFL's been doing this for my whole life. College coaches a lot of these coaches have never had to do this before. It's going to be very interesting how seriously they take it, and if they don't take it seriously, what the repercussions are.
I feel like Mike's gotten more comfortable talking about injuries
because he knows it's coming. Like he has to give us.
Yeah.
We'll all find out. Like he has to release a report.
I know,
and
but
if he's not truthful about it, that he will get dinged and he will be fined, and the program will be fined. So he knows he has to be truthful about it. But I think that's why he's been more open about it. Or maybe it's because we don't go to practice anymore. And that was kind of the yin and the yang. Like, okay, I'll talk more about injuries because you guys aren't out there watching a guy, on a bike for 2 hours.
Well said.
I don't know.
Well said. All right, that then is a wrap for us. We're going to do 2 more shows. I don't even know how, but we're going to somehow figure out a way to get 2 more shows.
Yeah, I'll be in Raleigh tonight when we record on Wednesday, and then I'll be in Charlottesville on Thursday. So, yeah, we're going to have to figure out how we do it. But, hey, guys, we'll get it done. It's what we do. It's what Warchant does. Yeah. We're going to get you your content. You're gonna love it. You're gonna get all excited about this big game, and then if they can get by that thing on Friday, Aslan, if they can, I don't care if it's 3-2. Win that game and then see what that next Saturday is going to be like. It is going to be outrageous. I just can't wait. In fact, I don't listen to them much, but I heard McShay and Russillo talking about. McShay loves Miami, by the way, and rightfully so. The defense. He talked about how much they fly around, and every time there's a tackle, there's 7 or 8 guys in the picture. It is quite unlike what you saw last year. Florida State's the same way. They just haven't played the competition all told like Miami has. But he was talking about it. He's like, man, it's going to be like my childhood when I was in the basement with so-and-so friend and we were watching Keith Jackson do Florida State Miami games.
Hell yeah.
That's what it's going to be like. And abso-freaking-lutely. Get there undefeated, both be in the top 10. And also, like he said, and I've said, like there were times where they would play and they would try to hype it up, but you knew it wasn't real. You knew one team was a lot better than the other one. Usually Florida State in the last 2 decades has been a lot better than some pumped-up smoke and mirrors Miami team. Well, not this year. This year I feel like that's even footing, and it's anybody's game, and it's anybody's guess who's going to play well. And there's real star power, and there's good coaches. And both these teams, at least through the first month, have played really hard on defense and fly around and look like old-school Florida State and Miami. I can't wait for that game. But, man, it would be so much cooler if Florida State was undefeated when they got there.
Can we continue the longest goodbye ever? That was really good.
That's it. Good. That's it. I'm done. Well,
I was going to say,
I got to go put Brady to bed.
Spoke to Link.
Let's go. Yeah, all right. Here we go.
Link pointed out to us that he's like, do you know how many new players we have? And I think he said 23. I should pull it up. I was writing everything out that he was saying. 23 new guys out of a 39-man roster. And he was saying something about, like, it's 56.4% of our roster's new. He's like, you know how much of the football team's roster is new? We're like, no. He's like, 56.4%.
Link Jarrett, man.
Link Jarrett.
The man. And the basketball roster, I think, is like 86%, I'm guessing.
Right. But, before we even start, he's like, are we recording? So maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it because I like Lincoln and I don't think he'll get mad at me. But for some reason, he's like, are we recording? We're like, no. And he's like, how about that football team, man? He's like, this is really good. Crisp. Really crisp. He's like, that was it. Yep. That was it. And then we started talking about baseball. He did say, Corey, this is the most excited he has been in his career going into fall ball. I guess maybe he just likes the way they've reloaded. He mentioned obviously they lost all the octane with losing Jamie Arnold, losing Joey Vellini, but he thinks that they are now as deep as they've ever been since he's been here at Florida State. So, and a lot of people were clamoring for more arms. They went and got, they got that 6'6" guy from Oregon. He's from the state of California, but I think he was pitching at Oregon, Cole Stokes maybe. They got a lot of new weapons that he's really excited about. And then after we got done, so go listen to the interview because it's hard to sum up Link Jarrett, but just
tell people where they can listen to it.
Our YouTube channel. Warchant
but
TV.
It's not just I thought it was like the Warchant Press Room channel.
Oh, no, yeah, correct. Yeah, the Warchant Press Room channel on our YouTube page. Or you can go to the baseball forums, and I have it linked inside of there.
That too. But if you're on YouTube, you could just Google Warchant Press Room, right?
Yes,
and that
correct.
channel will come up.
Yeah. And where was I going with this with Link? Link's, so at the end of it, it's just, I wish we would have still been filming it, but he was done. And then he just leaned back in his chair. He's like, we're back, man. We're back. And I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. And then I'm like,
is he talking about football or just the baseball side?
I don't know. Like, football's back. Baseball's back. Yeah. Like, they're back to being a good team, he thinks. But I asked him, I'm like, you seem like you really are enjoying this. I'm like, I don't think I would like to have to continually turn over a roster with 20, 30 new guys every single year. I'm like, I think that would piss me off. And then he sat there and spoke to us for like another 7 minutes and just talked about how, yeah, man, it's crazy the way the summer calendar works. Like you find yourself in June and then you've got to get guys on visits. A lot of guys set up a visit, but then they end up committing somewhere else. So then you've got to shuffle. You got plans or shuffle. You got to get back on campus to host another family. But he embraces it. Like he wasn't making any excuses. He wasn't talking about it like being stressful or like, whining about it. Just he's embraced, I guess, kind of this new age of college baseball. And obviously we've talked about his acumen and just the way he talks about the sport and the game. It's incredible. And some good quotes from Cal Fisher, too, because I asked Cal, I think, can you tell the coach is more excited? He said it's like the most excited he's been going in the fall ball. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I look at our lineup. He's like, I look at our infield. By the way, Eli Putnam, powered all sides of the.
Yeah, he's legit, man.
Yeah.
He's a really good hitter. Yeah.
So that guy's also really physical, he mentioned. But Cal Fisher's like, yeah, man, like, I'm excited too. He's like, we don't have holes anywhere. He's like, look at what we have in the outfield, what we have on the infield. Karn's behind the plate. All the arms that we have. Wes Mendez is back. They got Trey Beard, and then all these other arms. He's like, and we all know what we need to do. He's like, there's a cabinet that's missing a trophy, and we know what we need to do. And he looked, because there is a shrine to Mike Martin Sr. 11 inside that traditions room, and it's got enough space for an NCAA baseball championship trophy. So
or 3.
Yeah. So
or 3. Go get 3, Link. Don't just settle for 1.
Yeah. And then Michael Fly, assistant coach for the basketball team, also going to be the GM, first GM for Florida State men's basketball. He'll be working in tandem with T-Man, who's the assistant GM.
Right.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's hard to keep up with the goings on with basketball, but I wish Luke well. I'm excited to see what this product looks like. They actually had an open practice on Tuesday, but we couldn't get out there because of headlines. But we told them we'd take a rain check, and I really do. Hopefully next week, get out there and watch a little Florida State basketball practice.
Yeah.
There's and with that,
observations,
ladies and gentlemen,
observations from Matt Lasser on the hoops board. By the way,
oh, there you go, perfect. All
we
right.
got all
what an ending! This should have been the beginning of the show.
All right, we'll be back with 2 more shows. Warchant Report powered by Cummins, dropping probably later today. Jeff Cameron Show 1 to 4 o'clock. There'll be a pregame show Friday, 3 p.m. with Jeff and Tom. And again, we'll do 2 more shows for you folks. And stay connected to warchant.com. They also got a commitment from a defensive lineman, Judah Daniels, for the 26th class. Go check that out. Matt Lasser's got some reporting. He's Corey Maslon. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, Warchant BOGO, your promo code.